Today in our studios we have with us Dr. Narayan Iyer. He is the CEO of an NGO called Indian Development Foundation. Although he is based in Mumbai, he has travelled throughout the country. Let us ask him what he is doing throughout the country. First of all, welcome Dr. Narayan to Goa.
Thank you, sir.
Could you enlighten our viewers as to what you are doing? What is the trust of the Indian Development Foundation?
Indian Development Foundation, IDF is a short form, is a leading national NGO working for health, education and development. It has been into this assignment for the last 34 years, and our major forte is community participation, awareness creation and a kind of a building social responsibility among the youth in the country.
This is what you are doing throughout the country.
Yes.
Could you be Goa specific? What do you all do in Goa?
The organization which started with the main intention of removing leprosy from the country, and we have been very successful in strategizing and creating a kind of a strategic communication plan for the whole of the nation, bringing the caseload from 4 million to less than 1 lakh cases. We are using the same strategy for tuberculosis control program. So with this intention, we go around the country, talk to the people. Mainly the sensitization happens among the school students, among the educational institutions, where students are sensitized on the disease and they convey the message to the family members, the surrounding people, and so that the connectivity become the patients and the doctors becomes easier. So as far as the Goa is concerned, we are carrying out the same program as of
rest of the country.
Yeah, as we do it in the other parts in the country, same in the Goa also. We take the message to the schools, colleges, universities, talk to the children, because children are the best medium from where the education, where they convey the awareness program and take to the masses.
You said throughout Goa, you all go around spreading the message of various diseases. Is there any specific disease you all focus on?
Yes, as in the Goa is concerned, though we were working earlier on leprosy, and now we are more focusing on TB, tuberculosis, which is the full form. TB can kill a person.
Okay. Now, is there any particular reason why you are focusing on TB?
TB is the major dreaded disease which we are all aware, because India is the world capital for TB, and we need to sensitize people. Awareness is lacking. In fact, and the students are the main medium where we can convey the message and they can take to the masses. Unlike in the earlier times, we used to do through the students, but now we can also use technology which is with us. So what we do is we have a team of people, we have social ambassadors, we have volunteers. So we have this morning assembly talks where the volunteers go to the schools and address the assemblies where thousands of students take the message, and these messages are either by way of an audio-visual program or by a talk or by a pamphlets which are distributed, handouts, handbills. These messages are taken to the parents, and the parents convey this message, take this message and spot out. Communication is the key, awareness is the key, which is very important, which can reduce the caseload of any problem that is there in the country. So communication, awareness plays a very important role.
And what is the situation of TB in Goa?
If you look into the statistics as far as India is concerned, India has got something like nearly 4.2 million population who are affected of TB cases, and of which nearly 3.33 million people die out of TB. So it's a gross disease which we need to control, which we need to contain as early as possible. Goa, for that matter, is concerned with a small population that we have. We have an incidence of around 3,000 cases, and if you look into the prevalence that coming in, the caseloads that we find every year, which is around 1,500 to 2,000 cases are being found every year. So we need to be working war footing so that we can control the disease as far as a small state like Goa is concerned, and we need to make Goa as a role model state for the rest of the country.
And now talking of TB, what is the cause? Is there any particular organism which causes this disease?
TB is a bactericidal problem. Mycobacterium tuberculosis is the bacteria, and it is spread in the air. It's an airborne disease too. It was Dr. Robert Koch who had discovered the bacteria. So TB is also called as Koch's disease, and this spreads through air, and as we inhale and exhale, and as we pass through the crowded places, we pass through any of the areas, or any person who is carrying these bacteria, and it is in the air, it comes into our system, and we can get TB.
How does TB spread from one person to another? And is there any stigma which is attached to the TB which causes a problem?
See, TB is again an airborne disease, as I told you. It spreads through air. So any individual who has this bacteria, it spreads through spitting, coughing and sneezing. So these are the major three reasons. So if you spit, you should not spit in the public. You should either use a spittoon, or you should spit in a private place, or if you sneeze, you should cover your mouth. These are the messages which every child we tell them. So we should all know this. We go to a public place, we go to a mall, we go to a market, we go to an airport. There are people who we do not know who is carrying this bacteria. Okay, TB bacteria, so it can come out. So we should be careful. If we are having, we should not be responsible in spreading the disease. If you look into the stigma, yes, there is the stigma is still there in the public mind, that they should be away from this disease. If they are contracted of this TB, they should not go near the public and things like that. In fact, they should not get fearful of this at all. They can this stigma can be removed with only awareness, because awareness plays a very important role. If they know that TB is curable, it cannot spread if they are under treatment. If these informations are available with them, I am sure the stigma can be stopped, though stigma is still prevalent. There are people, the people who travel across, if they have to go for a long journey from, if 5 hours plus journey has to be done by a flight, the checks has to be done. The medical reports says that a TB check has to be done for a person who goes for a travel 5 hours plus. So these are some of the information which people should be aware of. So though people feel that TB is a poor man's disease, it is not a poor man's disease. Anybody can have. We normally, as we are going to crowded places, as I told earlier, so it can be contracted, or it can be spread through any of these people. If you look into the incidence that we were talking about, the number of people in India, we have something like 4 million people who are affected of TB. Around 2.2 to 3 lakhs of people die of TB. For every 2 minutes, one patient dies, or every 3 minutes one patient dies. The statistics something like that. Like if you look into the minutes calculation, there are people for every 3 minutes one person dying of TB. So these are some of the things which people should be aware of. The responsibility should be known to people. If you look into the Goa for that matter, we have something like 3,000 cases which are there in the records, of which every year there is a finding of 1,500 to 2,000 cases, new cases are being found. They are treated, again new cases are coming. So how do we stop? So we need to be stopping only by creating, sensitizing, creating awareness. TB anywhere is TB everywhere. So we cannot say that I do not have TB, I do not know what is TB. This is not, everyone should be knowing of TB. Responsibility has to be taken by every individual. Then we can see Goa can be set as a role model state, which can be called as a TB free state, and Goa can be a role model state for the rest of the states and the country for that matter.
Now we know it's spreading through the air. Is there any way we can stop the spread of the disease?
Keeping the environment clean. If the environment is clean, we can stop the bacteria to be spread. And the second reason is, if you have an excellent resistance power, if you have the best of the best immunity by eating nutritious food and having better of best exercise. So these can all reduce the bacteria. Even if the bacteria comes into the system, they can be killed by the immunity and the resistance that we have. So we need to see that the immunity is built in, the resistance power is built in, and the surrounding, the environment can also be kept clean, which can help in removing, reducing the problem in the state particularly.
So you mean to say that having a nutritious diet will protect us from this disease, TB.
Certainly, yes.
And what about this vaccines or inoculations? Won't that help?
As far as the vaccine is concerned, we have BCG, which are given to children when they are born, and the power of that BCG remains till the child grows up to 14 years. But we need to see that the child is always the resistance builds all through, and we also know that the child cases are also there because the bacteria can affect the children in a big way because the resistance in children are low. So we need to be addressing the students as best as possible so that care is given to them and they are away from such dreaded diseases.
So this vaccine BCG is valid only for 14 years.
Yes.
And not above that.
Not above that. As far as other TB vaccines are concerned, the researchers and the scientists are working where vaccines can be given to the TB. So TB vaccines are under trial, under research base. Very soon we will be very successful. Though we can, through medias, we are hearing about some of the vaccines which are being found, but they are all under trial program.
So just now, as of today, there is no vaccine or no inoculation for TB.
There is
beside the BCG.
Beside the BCG, no. Though we do have oral medicines which we give, which is called as DOTS. So DOTS is again a kind of a directly observed treatment short course, which is given for a period of 6 months to 8 months period of time, through which TB gets completely cured.
That is for the cure. For I am talking regarding the prevention.
Yes.
Prevention.
For prevention, of course, we need to be healthy. We need to be having nutritious food. We need to be having best surroundings, which can stop the bacteria to spread.
Now, in case somebody contracts TB, what are the signs and symptoms of this TB?
As it is a bactericidal problem, I told you it is caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis. The first 5 symptoms which an individual can come to know, the first 5 symptoms which everyone should be knowing because it is everyone's responsibility. Like any individual who has a cough for over 2 weeks, night temperature, loss of body weight, loss of appetite, and blood in the sputum. These are the 5 symptoms. If an individual has got this, has to go to a doctor, take proper treatment, and treatment for them are given free of cost. So this is very important. 5 major symptoms I wish to repeat to my viewers. An individual with cough for over 2 weeks, night temperature, loss of body weight, loss of appetite, and blood in the sputum. So these are the 5 major symptoms which everyone should be aware of. And if you know this and you go to a doctor, and treatment can be given to you, and that can give you the best of best care at an early, because early detection is what is important.
Now, is there any specific test to detect TB?
TB detection, there are 2 major things. The first test is called the sputum tests are being conducted. Okay, so the sputums are being taken in a container, and through the government centers it can be tested. And if it is a positive one, then there are the treatment starts for the patients. We also can do through chest X-rays, which can be taken and which can understand. So they are called as pulmonary cases. In fact, there are, if you look into the TB as such, 80% are pulmonary cases. And also, in fact, viewers should know that except hair and nail, every part of the body can be contracted with TB. So we need to be very careful.
But can all those TB of the different parts, can that be fatal? Or only the pulmonary TB is fatal?
TB as such is a killer. In fact, 2 letters T and B is a killer. Okay, so we need to be very careful. We need to be taking the disease very seriously. It is fatal and if untreated. And if it is treated too, and during the treatment period of time, if there is a discontinuance of the treatment, again that is fatal. So we need to be very careful. First is get diagnosed, go to the doctor, get yourself diagnosed and start the treatment. And once you start the treatment, you should complete the course, which is very important. There is sheer negligence among the public where they neglect treatment or where they discontinue treatment. So to my viewers, I would to repeat again that the continuance and completion of treatment is very important, which plays a very important role. You know, there is something called as MDR-TB, multi-drug resistant TB. If somebody discontinues treatment, they come under this MDR problem, which is again a fatal one. So MDR to XDR to TDR to XSDR, like total drug resistant, extreme drug resistant, extremely drug resistant. So these are some of the things which gets multiplied over a period of time.
Talking of MDR, I think it is something similar to the superbug, what they are talking. So you mean to say if the course of treatment is not taken completely, then it becomes nullified. Whatever treatment is taken has no effect.
It has no effect, yes. So what happens is the treatment schedule, which prolongs from 6 months to 8 months under the DOTS, that is called DOTS, directly observed treatment short course. The patient, he feels all right after 2 to 3 months. So when the patient feels all right, he feels that why should I take treatment? So though it is highly, it's a high dosed antibiotic, you need a lot of food, good food to be taken, supplements to be taken, nutrition to be taken. Otherwise, the patient may dislike, and he feels that if I'm all right for some time, why should I continue? He discontinues, and then he comes under this MDR program.
Now, if you continue taking the medicines regularly, is there a guarantee that the patient will be cured completely of TB?
In fact, if a person takes the treatment on a complete schedule, the regimen is completed, he is 100%, he can be cured of 100%. Instances are very many, including the great celebrity like Amitabh Bachchan, including a great social reformer, the founder of our organization, Dr. A.R.K. Pillai. He contracted TB at the age of 87, and he underwent treatment continuously without any stoppage. He is completely cured. At 91, he goes again back to his work. There is no problem at all. So continuous treatment and completion of treatment will make a person healthy, and he will be completely all right of this major problem of TB.
Now, is it required that a patient of TB has to be isolated? See, in Goa we were having 2 TB sanatoriums. One was in Margaon and the other one was in Santines or Tamdi Mati as it was known. Now, is it still being used? Are patients still being kept isolated?
Isolation of TB patients were there earlier. India had a lot of sanatoriums where people used to be taken out and then put into TB sanatoriums. The very reason for such things were ventilation was very important. But providing a better environment for the TB patient was very important. Awareness was not there in big number. So what now it has happened is, with the first induction of the medicine, the patient's bacteria is under control. So he or she need not be under isolation. So isolation is not required now. Until and unless the patient comes under severe cases like MDR and XDR, in that case an isolation is important for a short period of time, need not be for a longer period of time.
That isolation is for his treatment or to prevent the spread of the disease?
Isolation is for the patient's treatment, which is very important, and also it prevents the spread of the disease. To both the ways it takes care, right?
Okay. Now, how do you see your work in the progress, and what message do you have for the people of Goa?
The work in Goa is gearing up very well. A lot of volunteers are coming, a lot of people are coming. There are Goa particularly is a place, is a beautiful place where people celebrate life, and they are all there for a social cause. Everybody comes forward and they want to be part of this movement. So for this movement, people are coming forward. Our sincere gratitude to the people who come forward and support this program in a very big way. So we need to appreciate them, we need to salute them for the great work that they are doing. The work of Indian Development Foundation, particularly in TB control program in Goa, is running very well, with the support of other NGO partners who are working here, and also with the help of the government bodies who are a great role player for this TB control program.
So do you see in future Goa will be TB free?
Yes, we will certainly see. Why Goa? Though Goa can be the first state in the country which can be made a TB free state. Though we are also working for the country to be TB free, the world to be TB free. All these things are being worked out.
Our Honorable Prime Minister wants to make India TB free by the year 2025. That is 7 years from now. And the WHO wants to make the world TB free in the year 2030. That is another 12 years from now. Do you think that this target is achievable?
See, any problem for that matter, which is very big in number, what you need is a political will. Political will plays a very important role. Without political will, because it has to come from the high order. And TB as a problem has been realized by the politicians, by the government, and now they have put a targets. Earlier, everyone used to work without a target. I remember I had participated in one of the national program where I said that Indian Development Foundation had participated in in leprosy control program, where the government had set a target date as 2000 AD. So I said, why don't you set a target date? You need to have a goal. You need to have an end date by which you can achieve your goal. So the government had taken it very seriously, and they have said that India can be free of TB by 2025, and they want to be doing this 5 years before the World Health Organization, which is again, it's a challenge. India has got the best of doctors available. India has got a huge human resource power and the technology through which we can do this. It's a doable thing. It's an achievable thing. With the political will that has been sought out, which has been received for this, particularly TB, I am sure India can march ahead of the WHO set standards of 2030, and we can achieve by 2025. Efforts are being on. The NGOs across the country are gearing up. The community participation is coming up in a big way, and I am sure 2025 we are going to reach the target in a big way, and the world is going to witness it.
Well, Dr. Narayan, it was very nice having you here, and it was very enlightening, the information what you have given us about the TB. I hope that all our viewers will follow whatever Dr. Narayan has told us. So, Dr. Narayan, on behalf of our CCR TV, I would like to thank you very much for coming here and enlightening our viewers. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir. Before we close, I also wish to thank you. I wish to thank the CCR TV for giving us this wonderful opportunity to be with the viewers, to share the knowledge, to share the information which is vital and important, that people should know about it. Indian Development Foundation, which is now into, the organization has become a movement now, and now we are looking into creating leaders in the country. So if there are volunteers, in fact the state is beautiful, where people want to participate and give their best of the best for the state, and it's a place where a lot of tourists come in. There are big numbers of tourists who are coming in. So our interest would be if people can contribute 2 hours of their time on every weekends and be a part of this program. Program can be a goodness program where they can help in health, education, because IDF is also into education program, where we run a program called as Bal Gurukul Student Leadership Program. Goa particularly, we have around 10 Bal Gurukuls which we are running, of the 225 Bal Gurukuls which we are running in the country. Student Leadership Program we are running in the entire nation. Last year we could create something like 30,000 student leaders of the school going children. So this year our aim is to have 1 million student leaders. I am sure the viewers will come forward and write to us and be part of this program, where they can volunteer in one of the best platform where they can see their country, the state can be developed and be made a better place for the world to live.
I hope that you will bring all the schemes of yours to Goa also.
Yes, I love Goa. Thank you so much.
Thank you.